So since we're working with people at CERN, fortunately in the morning, there is a lot of talking with meetings with the people at CERN.
Generally speaking, I like to be here early to be able to talk to the technician.
It's not a lot of sitting and doing calculations and designing stuff, but there is a lot of interaction, moving around, talking one-on-one with the technicians as well.
Then that sometimes overlap with the time that usually students come to the lab. It is not every day, but I try to essentially speak with them like once a day to see where they are at or if they have any issues that we need to solve together.
I'm going to talk to one of my students who's made some progress with some of the flying robots we're building in the lab, but there are some things which are not working, so we're going to debug that.
The first one is making sensors. And then once we make sensors, then we set up a test with those sensors. And then from that, we get a bunch of data. And then there's kind of a period of looking at the data and seeing what we can learn from that.
A lot of my job on the day-to-day is like managing the sheer amount of data that we're dealing with.
It's at least 1 hour a day of bureaucracy, no matter what's happening.
So once we take the teaching pieces out during my week, I think whatever time I have, I try to divide that between doing mostly meetings.
The problem is that there are too many meetings, and so even if you're doing your work, typically you have to spend a lot of your time actually in meetings, and then your productivity is already reduced a lot.
How do I personally do it? I do a bunch of things. Mostly I follow my Google Calendar. The first thing in the morning, like I have like a list of tasks like send outreach meeting invite, send write to Cortec, and then I try to check them off. So it's not the best, but that's how I manage.
We do not have a very sophisticated tool for that. Sometimes we use like Google Doc. We do have like log system where we put some results, right? But those are specific analysis or technical documentation.
I kind of find it difficult to talk to a person face to face and at the same time write down, type notes.
At the beginning of semester, all of us make Gantt charts in terms of what we want to achieve, and we keep filling that out, and we check it maybe like on a monthly basis.
We sometimes keep track just in Google Slides or something like that, where we can keep adding documentation as they come out of the analysis or the notes. But after that, we don't have any very dedicated software or tool.
It's hard to know what's higher priority sometimes. Sometimes you hear that operations is the main priority, but sometimes you get pushback from the project people saying that projects are higher priority. The completion of your work depends on what the priority is for this other technician who's not in your direct line of command.
A billion times with those tools in which you put the tasks and stuff, you use them a month and then that's it. At the beginning you're all excited, you write, oh, we should do this and this and that, you write it, and then 6 months later you look, but we already did 80% and no one actually removed them from this tool. So no, I tried and failed many times.
I try personally to use Slack, and I personally hate it. First of all is that the free license or whatever you call it, right, deletes all the messages, or you have a given capacity, right? So you don't have the full tool available. And the other thing is that since it is too easy to add people to those channels, sometimes it gets to a channel that has a lot of people and you're not specifically talking to the person. In my case, it was not well integrated in my phone, and I didn't want to have that in my phone. So in the end, having it in my computer, it was similar just to use other chats.
So teaching students takes a lot of the effort.
The learning new stuff can be challenging sometimes, especially since it's not like super regimented.
It would be a good idea to have like a training system in place so that people don't forget or they don't fall through the cracks, or when we have new employees, they get added to this queue to get trained.
You teach a new student to say, well, this is the procedure that you follow. But then perhaps that happened on a Friday, and then on Monday, when the student starts doing that, he forgets half of the things that were important to start with, right? So I would say that having a couple of steps to follow that come through a system that is integrated with some media, text to read or curve, or the performance to obtain, and with some button that you can check and like help the person to follow their activity. That could be nice.
I mean, in this lab, organization and cleaning are always a problem. Not being able to find things when you're looking for them, and then you spend a lot of time looking and not being productive.
Time consuming is definitely like the organizational side of stuff.
The time-consuming pieces are just like regular maintenance and doing lab cleanups and those kind of things, which nobody's really thrilled to do. We have a lab cleanup this afternoon, so that's kind of like one-off things, but it happens like once a month or so. And so that's like 3 hours of with pizza, and then we're gonna wake up, organize.
I mean, we have like, I would say, 20 stations. So we don't have a good way to keep track of the equipment that is moved around these stations or setups, right? So we sometimes lose a lot of time looking for things that are around and we don't know where they are. Every day, like R&D activities, we don't have a specific system, and I would say that it would be helpful to have. Sometimes you lose track of if another student is doing a similar test, you don't have access of what's going on until you have like the presentation from the student. That sometimes that comes like every 15 days, right? Every 2 weeks, but sometimes that comes after a couple of months. He's working right next to you, right? But you are not asking around what are the specific things that they are observing. We have logbooks. We have tried, and we sometimes use logbooks. To use a logbook, you need to connect through a computer, and sometimes some of the activities that are done means that the person has to sit in the office and write down the process that they have done. It's not something that could be integrated with the daily activities, especially when we are working with students where we want to have that contact. Maybe some tool that could be integrated in the cell phone in some way that you can add some small thing. And also, if you want to make it bigger or a larger explanation, you can sit down and also do it through your computer. But perhaps taking a picture and saying, hey, this is the equipment I'm using, this station, I'm running this test, you can do it through your phone. That will consume little time on your activities, and could be productive for others.